we're live. Welcome everybody to Ash and Nell with the Cosmic Retell, live on the day of the new moon, which is very exciting. So Ashley, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah.
You're having a good, I love your background. You're outside.
I know, this is a real background. Isn't it beautiful? It's so pretty. It's hot here, so I look like a little sweaty. It's like the heat index is over 100 here, but I had to get outside today.
Yeah, it's not as hot by me, and it's been so rainy. And if I try to go outside, there's always like noise. So like, I'm just gonna be
I'm in
inside.
the country. I got the mountains. It's so peaceful. I love it. I love
Which
it.
is actually perfect for Cancer season, right? Like having that grounding and just like that calming, being in your home. So I think it's like perfect for us. And
Listen, Nellie, it's our season.
it is our season. You're right,
It's
Ashley.
I've got exactly 1 week till my birthday, and you've got just a little over that.
I know, yeah, because mine's 22nd. Yeah, we're 10 days apart. I just realized that, yeah, our birthday's yours is next week, right? Next week. And
Yeah,
then
Friday.
mine is like the week after. So my birthday's on a Monday. I'm like so out of it these days. I don't even know when my birthday is. I know roughly. I'm like, oh, it's on a Monday. Okay, that's good to know. Let's make sure I make time for my birthday. But yeah, I was just reflecting today as I was like writing the notes. And I remember that last year, like around this time is when we started our podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if we did it around the new moon in Cancer. The first notes I found was the new moon in Leo. So we might not have done one yet. I don't recall, but I think from there, we were doing them every week. So yeah, I'm excited. So I think it's probably been about a year anniversary of Ash and Elle. So it's crazy how time has gone. We appreciate everybody on with us. And I know I was so last minute because I was driving all day. I had no time to set up the restream. Last night I was way too tired. And this morning I was like still packing things up for my son. And I'm just like, I'm just going to do it when I get home. So yeah, I didn't give everybody a lot of notice. So appreciate you guys watching on replay later. Especially because the new moon is so important. It's like this whole like powerful manifesting opportunity. So I was going to ask you, Ashley, like for you, on the new moon in general, like what do you usually do? How do you like besides like you're at work, but like now that you're done, what are you going to do for the rest of your day to like honor this new moon energy?
Well, I'm doing a lot of contemplation, Nellie. New moon, writing down the wishes, thinking about what it is that I want for the month ahead. Just intentionality, really. What is it that I want to achieve? What do I want my goals to be? And I think that as kind of as I've been through this journey and as we've been doing like our podcasts, I look at it different each time. Like I get more intentional in like my goals and my wishes have changed over time. The more you grow, it's amazing to see how things change. So I don't know. I think that the new moon, I'm going to write down my wishes, which is usual. Do you do anything else that is special?
Yeah, I love the opportunity every month to show the book. So
Yes.
it forces me to do it. So yeah, so let's see, in the nature of I have this background, it's so hard to see it. I don't know if you guys can see. This is the new moon. The one thing about having Wonder Woman, she makes it hard for all this. So it's the New Moon astrology book, and Jan Spiller talks all about the concept of the new moon, and then there is a section on each zodiac. So what I do to honor it, and I'm going to do that very shortly because it's at 6:57 p.m. tonight, so it's coming up in the next couple hours. I was actually going to run an errand. I'm like, oh no, I won't be home around that time. I get very crazy. Like I have to be access to my paper and materials at that time. And if I can be, I try to not that you have to write it that minute, but they say like within the first 8 hours following it, it's the most potent. So me, like obsessive me, has to like write it. Oh, it's 6:57. Let's have our pen and paper. So I have my like little slips of paper. I have my pen, and I just always try to honor the energy of that moon. And I took a picture of this for the group a few days ago, so not everybody can see it. But then it tells us like what to focus on for Cancer, which is very much all the things about nurturing and home and family and feeling like support and all that kind of thing. Growing, like you were talking about, growing feelings. Releasing insecurity. Like there's just a lot of good themes. So it doesn't mean every single wish has to be around it. But I think if you can try to put some of your 10 wishes with these, I think that's good. And then like if there's something else like I really want, and let's say it's about my business, like that's not the typical Cancer thing, but for me, my Cancer's in the 10th house, which is the house of business and job. So it makes sense for me, but for some people, like, where's your Cancer? whereas your Cancer at 14 degrees, which actually I put that on there, and I don't know if you and I talked about it. Mine's in the 10th house, because my 10th house, I think, is like mostly Cancer. But I wasn't sure about yours, Ashley, like where you
My
were.
Cancer is in the first house. Let me look. Let me double check, because now you got me curious and I want to hear about it. I think it's good too, because then you hear, I know you tell people about your chart, but I think it's good to hear you interpret my chart sometimes, because then it gives people an idea of what this sounds like. So mine is in the first house. Yes.
So first house is like your identity, your sense of self.
Yeah.
Like it's basically it's the house of Aries. But the thing is that everybody has a different zodiac there. So just because it's the house of Aries doesn't mean Aries is there. And for you, Cancer is there. Like for me, Libra is there. Like that's my first house. So whatever that zodiac is for that house, like that's that energy. So for you, like that's like who you are. Like you're that nurturer. Like you're taking care of everybody. And
Yeah.
making sure you also take care of yourself, but in general, it's like it's like self-care. I think when I think of like first house and I'm thinking about Cancer, I'm really thinking about self-care, because a lot of times I think like as a mom, as a wife, business person, like you're doing things for other people, but are you giving enough back to yourself? So
It's funny you're saying that, Nelly, because that's something that's definitely been coming up for me in the past week, is really engaging in the self-care and pouring into my own cup. For the past couple of weeks, I've been go, go, go. I've had family in, we've had all the kids here. It's just been hectic and chaotic, and I'm just feeling worn down. So I've been trying to find ways to pour into my own cup. So that definitely resonates. And it's not only my sun, but it's also my rising that are both in
right.
Cancer. So it's like that double energy, right?
So you have that, because, and the funny thing is like sometimes, like I was just saying to like in my astrology session with Ileana, that like I don't associate with my Cancer as much. I'm at 29 degrees, and I feel like, yes, I embody some of it, but I feel like sometimes that Libra kicks in more, and sometimes my Virgo, and I have that massive Gemini stellium, which right now is amplified with the Jupiter in Gemini. So like I'm feeling that more. So the Gemini is really hitting me. So I don't always feel like a Cancer, and because it's our sun sign, it doesn't mean we're always embodying it. And
Yeah.
because I'm like literally like I'm on the cusp, I'm almost Leo. Like a few hours later, I've been a Leo, and for a big chunk of my life, my mother told me I was a Leo. So it's like I didn't realize I was a Cancer till like I don't know, partway into high school. So the thing is like for me, I don't always associate with a Cancer. And yes, I could be that nurturing person, and yes, I could be in my emotions, and yes, I'm intuitive, but I still feel like I don't always associate it with as much.
Right.
And so I think, but we know how you mentioned it's in your rising. So you're double Cancer. So
Yeah.
like, I feel like that impacts you more. And I think also like the moon, like if somebody's a Cancer moon, they might embody Cancer more than maybe a Cancer sun. I don't know. I think it depends on the person. I think
Yeah,
the degree too.
yeah, because I know that even though I'm Cancer sun and Cancer rising, I'm a Sagittarius moon. And I feel like my Sagittarius
You are
energy
very Sagittarius.
quite a bit. Like I can really get into that adventurous, like fun sort of energy very often. But I am also very nurturing.
You are very
That
nurturing.
nurturing side to me. I mean, I'm a therapist. Like, of course I'm nurturing. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, it'll I think like totally when you look at astrology, it all makes sense. And there's so many layers to it, and then things get deeper. It's like Liliana and I today were talking about like my Scorpio, but so my Uranus is in Scorpio, and I asked her a question about something, and we got into that more deeply. And I'd already kind of learned about it, but like I learned about it in a different way in connection to other people who have Scorpio energy and how that gets drawn in with my Uranus. And I'm like, oh, that's not something I thought of, because I was thinking about it like second house. It's my value and possessions, and me as a money coach, whatever, like coaching and money and all that kind of thing. And like I hadn't really like looked at it in that way. So I think it's kind of fascinating that, as much of astrology as we learn, there's still like more to learn. And even though we talk about the new moon every month, like you said, you're getting different ideas and things are new, and it's a different zodiac for that month. So like the new moon in Cancer for us is going to feel more personal because of our Cancer, zodiac. And then for others, maybe not as much, but it's still like the new moon, we're still manifesting. So yeah, it's powerful. I mean, I always try to write, like that's my like opportunity every month to be able to write my wishes. Anybody I know, As long as they're like sort of into spirituality, I tell them to write their wishes. I'm like, it's your golden opportunity every month to tell the universe what you want. You write it down, watch it come true. And people who are cancers, we're like excellent manifestors. We like visualize the thing that we want, and then it happens. Like it just happens. You talk it, and then you are it. I found it. Like, I'm like, but if you believe it and you start visualizing it, and then it's like your brain doesn't know any different, and that's like this energy we need when we're doing the new moon.
And I think too, Nellie, the big thing is like the taking the action in order to manifest, right? It's like it's one of these things where we can say all day long, like, I'm going to manifest this, I'm going to manifest this, and then we sit there and we wait for it to be handed to us, not taking that action. It's you've got to believe it's going to happen, but you also have to put that energy out. The energy that you put out will come back to you tenfold. It's just got to work, right? You got to work towards that.
And that's what, why it's easier for you, because you're a life path 4. I was thinking about this as you're talking, and you also have an earth grand trine because you're so grounded. So it's like you're using like that pentacles energy, like in tarot, like that physical tangible energy to make things happen. It's not just like, oh, I have this idea, or oh yeah, I'm going to manifest this. There's more. Yes, you can write the thing down, but you actually have to do something to make it happen. It's not literally we wave a magic wand and we have this thing.
Only, right? If only we could do it that way. The universe rewards forward motion, right?
Exactly. Like we have to take action, and I think that's important. So you have to have the passion, right? So you have to have that fire energy, which is, I think, you're Sag, right? It's like you get passionate about that idea and you go with it. Like, let's do this thing, let's go after it. But then again, it's like then you need the thing, whatever it is, to make it happen. So whether it's the Capricorn or the Virgo or Taurus, whatever energy that is, like actually, like, let's make this thing happen, because we can have all this passion, all these great ideas, but like we need to do something so those manifestations occur. But you have to tell the universe what you want. You can't be wishy-washy. That's what I learned. I was like, I sort of want this thing, or I kind of want this person in my life. But then if you're not clear on it, you don't get exactly what you want. So for manifesting purposes, I think like knowing exactly what you want and having clarity before you sit down and write it, because then you might not get exactly what you asked for, or you might get what you asked for, but that's not really what you wanted, So I think there's a lot of merit. And we've been doing the 369 manifestation challenge on the group. We've had a group chat going for like months. I literally have stuck with it. This is our 3rd round. We do it for 33 days. I'm very proud of myself for sticking with it, because it's really hard for me to like actually like continue something and do it every single day. And I'm manifesting different things. I might change it some, so I'm not always like going with the rules on it, but I'm writing it 18 times a day. Now I have 2 things I'm writing 18 times a day, so it's very intensive. And I'm doing it for 33 days. Yeah, and I like see, because those ideas, they get in my head, and once they're in my head, I'm doing something. I'm like, oh yeah, what's my manifestation? Oh yeah, I have to get out of debt. Well, what am I going to do to get out of debt? Okay, I need to like, build up my business more. I need to look for other opportunities. So it's like, it's in my head because I'm writing it. And so it's the same thing with these new moon wishes. So yeah, I mean, everybody can do this. It's not like you have to be a spiritual person. We all have the power to do this. It's all about like choice and like, actually like sitting to do it.
Intention. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So yeah, let's talk about like some like different things. So how can we honor the new moon in Cancer? Because again, we have the energy now, even though the new moon hasn't like officially hit, like it starts before. So we're already feeling like this Cancer moon energy. We've been in Cancer sun for like, I guess like a week or maybe more. No, maybe 2 weeks. I guess 2 weeks now. Yeah. Time is like flying. Yeah. It's been about 2 weeks of being, we're halfway through Cancer season. So like, if we advise people, like what could they do? Like, what would you say? I think it's easy for us as we're Cancers, like at least to think of the things. We don't always do them, but at least like we're more aware because we're like living in that Cancer sign.
Yes. Cancer is emotional. Be aware of your emotions, but also be aware of what's your emotions and what's not your emotion. Like when you're interacting with somebody else, a lot of times Cancers can have that tendency to take on other people's emotions and think that it's ours and like absorb that. Know what's yours and what's not, and what is not yours, send it back with love, right? Imagine yourself in a bubble and that nothing can penetrate your bubble. So that way you're protecting your own energy. Like if you have to do visualization, that's perfectly fine. Just know what is yours and know what is theirs. Protect yourself.
Kim says that too. Our mutual friend Kim Nichols, she always says the same thing. She says, as empaths, we are so like drawn into people's energy, and like we connect with people, and sometimes we take that energy and then we get confused and think it's our own. And so it's like, okay, we just did a session with somebody, but now it's like, okay, we don't want to keep that energy, and we don't need that. Like it gets sticky. So it's like we have to do things to remove it. So I think that's
call it an empath, call it highly sensitive, call it whatever you will, like call it being a Cancer, whatever it is. You care about people. You care about people. You care about those emotions. You care about helping people. So it's easy to take that on. Know what is yours. Good boundaries, right? Having those good boundaries and knowing. Don't say yes when you really mean no.
Right. And I actually want to go back to the emotions thing just for a minute. We'll talk about boundaries because that's its own conversation. As I was like writing these up, I remembered like Brene Brown, because that's like my hero, who I love Brene Brown. And I was thinking about the book I read of hers, Atlas of the Heart, which had like all the emotions. Because sometimes we don't want to talk about all the emotions, or we just want to talk about the fun ones, or we want to bitch and moan about like being sad or this. But it's like, okay, there's so many different emotions, and we need to like dig deeper and realize like, okay, if I'm feeling this, am I really feeling this, or is there something below the surface that I'm not or don't want to deal with? And I think like, as I was writing this, I was thinking like, yeah, like this is a good month to really think about our emotions, and we can't avoid them. They're still going to be there. We could put them off for a little while and come back to them, but like
it'll eventually all come back up. Like there's only so long you can put something down before it starts to burst out, like one way or another.
Right. They're always there.
Yeah. And I think too with emotions, Nellie, is like it can be hard to identify those emotions, but also when you are working on identifying them, not to be judgmental about those emotions that you have, like not to look at that as a negative aspect of yourself. Like I feel angry. Well, I must be bad because I feel angry about this, or I feel sad. I just should get over it. Like don't judge yourself based on that emotion. Acknowledge the emotion and get curious about it. Okay, I feel this. Why is it that I'm feeling this? What is it about this thing that has me feeling this emotion or this not so great feeling? Get curious rather than judgmental. Be accepting. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You're human, after all.
No, that's a good point. The acceptance is so key. And like, I think we're better about like not being judgmental with others, but I think we can be more judgmental with ourselves. Like, why am I feeling this, or why did I do this, and how could I do this? Am I a horrible person, kind of thing, And it's like, give yourself the grace and accept that, like, yeah, just like saying, I feel sad right now, or I feel, rejected right now, or I feel angry right now, whatever it happens to be. I think anybody who hasn't read that book, I like did a book club with that book. I like took notes. I did a whole thing on it. In a different community, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I need to reread those notes or reread that book because it was so powerful. Because we like to like hide those emotions because nobody wants to talk about shame and guilt and sorrow and all those things. But it's like we feel those too. So why don't we shine a light on it? Because it makes it better. It's easier for other people too, because it opens the door for them to be able to share their emotions.
Yep,
absolutely. The Inside Out movie. Did you see the newest one, Inside Out 2?
Not yet.
See, okay, I'm not gonna reveal, but my son really wanted to see it. We saw the first one, and it's so good because it's like you can see like inside the mind all the different emotions, and you're looking at it from the teenage perspective, which really, as adults, like once you're a teenager and those emotions carry with you, it's like, yeah, there are these other things that you feel, and sometimes you're feeling several emotions at once, and they're like have a power play, So it's pretty fascinating. So definitely see that movie. I think anybody who hasn't seen it, I think this is like good timing right now to like examine the it's really smart that it actually came out during cancer season. I don't think they planned it that way, but it's so true, because it's like we need to like honor the emotions and not feel shame and just like put it out there. And the more of us that do it, the easier it is for everybody. And then we're in a culture of being more accepting of people. All the stuff like mental health, because I could talk about that all day, as could you. So it's like, we need to like be better about it and have that conversation still safe.
Absolutely. And I'd encourage everybody to go watch these Disney movies, but look at it from a spiritual perspective. Like, you'll be amazed. There's so much spirituality in Disney movies. Once you kind of open up to it, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I haven't done that, but I think that's interesting too, because I haven't really watched these movies so much. That one, I don't know if that's like technically like a Disney, like the traditional, with the fairy tales. I'll have to like look at some of those. But yeah, it is interesting to like look at things from a different lens and see, because like as you get into this world of astrology and tarot and numerology and Reiki and psychic and media, all that kind of stuff, like that's like a part of all of us, you know, and we don't always, I think we haven't always seen it, but like now when you're in this world, you see it more. So
Yeah, your eyes are opened, that's for sure. I know mine are.
I will look. And getting back to the boundaries, 'cause I think that's so key, because I think, and this was my like realization, water signs have a really hard time with boundaries, just because we're so empathic and we get so involved in people's issues. That's always been my issue for so long. I don't, maybe it's been my whole life, I don't know, but I mean definitely in my adult life, where I just get drawn into people's stories and then I feel like horrible, like I feel like what they're feeling, and then I can't like take it away, and I'm like, okay, like I need to have a boundary, and like I can't accept all of it, you know, and I don't, and I need to say like this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. And I think like with my Libra moon, which is I think the hardest for me, that Libra moon does get very lax with boundaries and breaks the boundaries, and has all the issues of codependency and people pleasing, like all that low vibration of Libra. So, and it happens with the Pisces, you know, and Cancer, like all of them. So I
Yep.
think Cancer season's a good reminder about the boundaries. And
Definitely. We often can gravitate towards taking care of others and neglecting ourselves, putting ourselves on the back burner. And we got to remember that our number one priority has to be taking care of ourselves, because if you don't take care of yourselves, you can't take care of everybody else and show up for them as your best self. Think about the airplane with the mask, right? You have to put your mask on first before you help others,
yeah,
because if not, you're going to die, and so is everybody else. You're no help if you're dead. So
that's right,
take care of
exactly.
yourself. Yeah.
And the yes and no thing is so powerful too. And I want to get back to that too, because I know for me for a long time, I like couldn't say no to anything. Like I just felt guilty, and I just like, no, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. And then I realized every time I was saying yes to somebody for something I didn't really want to do, and I needed to do other things, then I was really saying no to myself. And I'm like, why am I like spending 3 hours helping this person? Which it was a nice thing to do, but then it's like I didn't get my things done, and then I didn't get time to get my hair cut or do this thing or that thing, whatever it was. And I'm just like, that didn't really help my cause, you know. So I
Yep.
think it's like important to like get better at saying no when it's not something that we really need to do. You know, are we doing it for the right reason? And I think that's like a whole big lesson in of itself with boundaries. And water signs generally have a harder time saying no. You know, we want to help everybody, right? Especially cancers, right? We're the nurturers. We want to be your mothers. We want to save your day. You know, same with I mean, Virgo's like the healing, but like I think of that for me too. It's like I want to like do all that to help, and then in the end, then it makes it like so much harder.
Be
So
very self-sacrificing, right? Yeah.
so that's key. And then I mean, I think a big thing too is like the nature of Cancer is like really needing to have this like sense of home and safety and security. And
Yeah.
so like I always liked having people over here, you know, because I'm like, you know, like this is like our home, and like this is, you know, like they come here and this is part of the family. And I think people who are Cancer sun, like the home is so important for us. And if things are out of order, like then it just like everything is out of order, because that's like our safe haven. And if things are like a
Mhm.
mess or things are whatever out of place, I think that makes it hard. At least I know for me, like it makes it hard, because I'm
Yes.
like, this is like my home. Do I want to stay here all the time? No, I'd like to do things, but at the same time, like when I'm done with those things, I want to come back here, and that's my safe place, you know. Just
Absolutely.
and so I think that's like another thing, just making sure that you're honoring like your home and also time with your family. Like, you know, summer, I think we do lots of activities, and some of it's with family, some of it's with friends, but like, are we checking in with everybody, even like outside of our household? You know, whether it's like parents or grandparents or aunts, uncles, other family members, or people who we think of as family. I think
Mhm.
this is a good time to like reflect on other people like that are close with us. So
Yes, absolutely.
So I think that those were like some of the big tips, like with the Cancer season, and
Yeah.
just keeping that in mind for those wishes. So if anybody has any questions or comments, um, I don't think we have any comments right now that I see, but if you're watching back later, feel free to share. And Ashley and I are going to do some card pulls. I think we'll just do collective because I don't see anybody else on. kind of a weird time of day on a Friday. I'm sure people are out and about doing stuff,
Yeah, it's still kind of a holiday too. Like 4th
Right.
of July was yesterday, and everybody's kind of doing stuff today because, yeah.
I'm going to do moonology here. So.
I mean, I always have spirit pick. I go which one is kind of given me. And imagine that unshakable inner peace.
Oh, that looks
What
like a good one.
we were just talking about, like, taking care of yourself and all of that. So I think that's a pretty good deck for today. Let's do it. What's up? I think I'm going to do a live later. Maybe do a couple lives and do some readings if anybody's interested. Maybe I'll come on the group and do one.
Okay.
Come on.
I haven't done like a live outside of the couple like ones I've done with people in a little while because I'm gonna hopefully I can do that next week. And I was supposed to originally, guys, I was supposed to go see Ashley tomorrow. I was like, I'm gonna go see her, but we've got some car issues and other stuff going on. So I'm like, I can't just do that, So I'm like, I thought that would be a golden opportunity to come visit, but I'm like, we'll have to do that either in maybe August or September. So yeah, we'll see what analogy. If you get a card, let me know. I'm still shuffling and waiting. Spirits, I think, waiting for me to wake up a little bit. I'm like dead tired. To my own detriment, because I'm not following what I should be doing for self-care. Summer's just so busy. I feel like summer's almost busier than school year,
Yes, it is. Vacations and everything.
My kids have different things going on. There's different camps. There's this, there's that, there's this, there's family things. Lots of things. So, all right. I had a card finally flip out. Fitting for the North Node group. Step out of your comfort zone, North Node. Okay, that's actually I can't get the card to show up here. I think that's perfect for today because North Node is all about our soul purpose. What do we want? We're talking about like wishes and manifesting. So push yourself to do things that are uncomfortable. They said that this month is going to be a very abundant month, this month in July. So you only live once, even if you're talking past lives and future lives and all that. But for this particular life, what can you do to maximize your life? So I like this card, step out of your comfort zone. I mean, I feel like I try to push myself always to do it, and just kind of push the envelope a little bit every day. So yeah, I think that's a good card.
Okay, hold on. I'm not getting one yet. Hold on. Let's see.
I'm just going to take a picture of this.
Okay. Some feels about right. Okay, so the card we got is okay. I don't know if you can't really read it, but it says, "Don't run from the darkness. Embrace your shadow side. What aspect of yourself have you been afraid to look at or address?" What I'm getting from this is like, are you self-sacrificing yourself for others? Are you giving more to others than you are doing for yourself? Are you getting resentful over this and then not realizing that you're doing this to yourself? You've got to take care of yourself. Also, don't run from the negative emotions like we were talking about. Like, be accepting of it, don't judge it, embrace it, but don't stay in it.
Right.
Don't stay in it. Yeah. What aspect of yourself have you been afraid to look at or address?
I just think of Pluto. I think of the shadow work with Pluto, and it's like, I think we should always kind of keep in mind where Pluto is in our chart and where it's transiting, because that is that shadow work. Also, Black Moon Lilith, it actually came up in my lesson, because there's a lot of shadow work around her, different themes that we need to address that like are uncomfortable and could be like taboo. So, what did you just say?
Prioritize self-love and care. When do you feel most nurtured and cared for? Imagine that. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to keep in mind all of that.
Yeah,
so.
like looking at this card, she's got a flower over her mouth. Like, I'm getting like, speak love into yourself like you do speak love into others. Like, speak love. Yeah. That's what I got for today.
That's good. I agree. We need to have more self love and more self care, all of that. And it's easy to do that for everybody else and kind of forget it for our own selves. So it's just like, but I know I've been better about it. And I've been only thinking about, okay, Nellie, you're doing this thing for you, and that's okay. Other people can wait. You don't have to give yourself up at this moment. And, whereas before, in any area of my life, I was always like putting everybody else's needs first, whether it was like with my business, my kids, my husband, my home, my parents, anything, everything and anything. I was always prioritizing everybody else. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, oh, didn't get to my thing. So let's try that tomorrow. And then it didn't happen. So now it's like, okay, maybe sometimes I'll just put myself first, instead of everybody else. And we'll get to everybody else later because like this thing needs to happen. So I think hopefully societally like that'll shift, because we need more of that, and it's okay to be selfish. Like it doesn't have to be such a bad word.
A beetle just fly at me.
It's got
Yeah,
some spiritual message.
yeah, a beetle flying at my head. Yes, selfish isn't always a bad thing.
No, I know. I was saying that to one of my coaching clients, and I was saying like you got to be more selfish, and that's okay. Like put that on your list. Focus on what you want. What are the things that you want to do? Visualize your life. What do you want? And like if you don't make it happen, nobody else is going to make it happen. So you have to. So
Absolutely.
all good messages. Okay, so I think this is good. I'm like we're talking a bit, and hopefully everybody has a good new moon in about like roughly where are we at? Like I guess a couple hours, yeah, a couple
Yeah.
hours it'll be time. But we're already feeling the energies now,
Yeah.
so it's not like it just suddenly hits at 6:57 and we feel it. We're already feeling it now. We're going to continue to feel it for another couple days. So just honor this time and just take it easy. Take a nap. That's what I'm actually going to do.
I did
Like
that yesterday.
I'm gonna do a meditation that always makes me fall asleep. So I'm gonna do a meditation, take a nap, write the wishes, take a bath. Some people like to do those salt baths, do all that kind of stuff.
Yes,
All that is very healing and just very calming for the body, like calm the nervous system. I think that's always good stuff. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Nellie, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. It's always good. I love our talks. And,
I do too.
maybe one
I
of these days
do.
we'll do a little bit more, but life is crazy and we do the
We
best
just
we
roll
can.
with it. We roll with that emotional roller coaster, and always good. So thank you, Ashley, for chatting with me, and we wish everybody a happy new moon, happy July, and we'll be back on in a couple of weeks. I don't know, maybe like around the full moon. That'll be coming up.
Yeah,
The second
absolutely.
full moon in Capricorn coming up, so that'll be a good time for another conversation. We'll talk about energy.
Absolutely. Happy almost birthday, Nellie.